Hello everyone, my name is Christian Eschbach, and welcome to another one of my album reviews. I have two rules when it comes to doing these videos. And the first one is if I write notes down, I don't delete those notes until after the video is actually posted onto YouTube, because I never know when I'm going to re-need these notes again. And that applies to this album. Big time. The second rule doesn't really apply, so it doesn't matter. The first one, though, I was in the middle of editing the review for Encomium, a tribute to Led Zeppelin, when I realized I needed to reshoot the entire video. And the reason why is the way I recorded it and the way that I've shifted to my new format for editing. It's a little bit of a system, and I really kind of didn't like how much editing I was going to have to put into the original recording I did of this. I wanted to make my editing honestly a little easier on me, and the reason why is it's a tribute album, but it's not one band doing a bunch of songs. It's a bunch of bands doing a bunch of songs. And the bands that are on here are a major reason why I think the way I do about this album. So what I want to do first is I want to introduce all the bands on here and the song they're doing. And then I'm going to come back around and I'm going to actually talk about all of them, all right? So first off, we have Mana, might be Mana, doing Fool in the Rain. Four Non Blondes doing Misty Mountain Hop. Hootie and the Blowfish, Hey Hey, What Can I Do? Sheryl Crow, Dear Make Here. Stone Temple Pilots, Dancing Days. Big Head Todd and the Monsters, Tangerine. Duran Duran, Thank You. Blind Melon, Out on the Tiles. Cracker, Good Times, Bad Times. Helmet with David Yao, Custard Pie. Rollins Band, Four Sticks. Never the Bride, Going to California. Robert Plant and Tori Amos, Down by the Seaside. All right. So the reason why I had to do that separately is I wanted to be able to give the brief details in the pop-up box for each one of the bands, put the picture in, all that other fun stuff. So now that I've done all that, I'm going to go into the actual album review itself, okay? Let's, all right. Because I got all the boxes, I don't have to give all the details anymore, so I don't have to talk about the actual year it came out, stuff like that. What I have to mention, though, is all the bands that are on this album are basically bands that were very popular in that particular time period, most of which were just one-hit wonders at the time, honestly. So let me get into this. We start off with Mana, Fool in the Rain. I don't even know Mana. To this day, I still don't know Mana. I know when I went to go start doing the editing that they are a band from Mexico. I knew that it was either Mexico or Spain based on the fact that they sing in Spanish. But outside of that, it's like most of the songs on this album, they're very faithful, like generically faithful kind of covers. The having it sung in Spanish, it literally sounds like Led Zeppelin doing it in Spanish. That's how good it is, as a faithful rendition. So that way it's really, really good, but it's really faithful. Like I don't know enough about this band to say if there's any essences of themselves in there, except for the Latin style guitar work in there as well. I want to say mariachi, but I don't want to typecast it, but that's kind of the vibe I want to go with. After that, we get to Four Non-Blondes doing Misty Mountain Hop. So this is also faithful to the original. You know, like they know how to play their Zeppelin. But it definitely sounds like Four Non-Blondes. Now, I do say a lot of the bands on here are one-hit wonders, okay? Four Non-Blondes technically is a one-hit wonder. However, the vocalist for Four Non-Blondes, the band leader, we'll call her, she has written a multitude of hits since then, and I'll put it all up in the box on this one. And this is one of the few bands I'm going to actually give this type of recognition to on here. Misty Mountain Hop, is this a version that I'd go back to and listen to on a regular? No, but it is a cool rendition. If you are into Four Non-Blondes, it is a really cool rendition by Four Non-Blondes. So it is really cool that way, and I do like the history of it that way. It's just not a song for me. But, you know, what are you going to do? Moving on. So the next three bands on here I'm going to talk about, they've all had staying power. They're all names to this day. We've got Hootie and the Blowfish doing Hey Hey, What Can I Do? Now, to be fair, I don't mind this song. Not a song I was ever huge on to start with, but Hootie and the Blowfish, really? Come on. They're lasting power, sort of, kind of. I mean, it's not that the band's out there touring anymore, but I mean, they're still a name, sometimes just as a joke, but really just, no, boring, meh. Then we got Sheryl Crow doing Dear Maker. Most people say Dire Maker. The band has said that's not how it's pronounced. I'm sure when I'm saying Dear Maker, I'm still doing it wrong as well, but now, at this point, Sheryl Crow basically only had All I Want to Do and that first album, the Tuesday Night Sensation or whatever it was. I'm not going to focus on her. She's not going to get a little box here. Sheryl Crow is still a huge name. This cover should have ended her career, okay? She has done some covers, like, the woman should not be allowed to do covers. I have not heard a rendition of her doing a cover yet that I've actually liked, because she always picks songs that just no. And really, her vocals on this sucked. Oh my God, they were atrocious. This song really should have ended her career. I'm glad it didn't, because she's released a lot of good stuff since. And Sheryl Crow has always been a wonderful acoustic kind of musician. Really, I've had a lot of respect for her. And she is proof that some women get sexier with age. But I digress. That song, no, don't. This is bad, really bad. And then we get into Stone Temple Pilots. That was a shame, man. Basically kind of killed two bands, sort of, kind of. I know Stone Temple Pilots has come back since, but I don't think we'll ever get another Velvet Revolver. All right, going on to this one, Dancing Day, Stone Temple Pilots. This was the big single that was released for this album. This was the big promotional song for this album, the big push for this album. And it is one of the few songs that honestly still stands up on this album. It was one of the few songs that actually stood up at the time. I'm going to be very honest, folks. This album was not well received when it came out, man. Not well received at all. Believe it or not, this is actually my second copy of this album. And the reason why it's my second copy of this album is I had it as a teenager when it came out, and I really didn't care for it. I don't remember if I sold it or if I traded another CD for it or what, but I do know that it ended up out of my collection. I picked this one up used, and it had a price tag on it for $6, but I bought a whole bulk of used CDs that day. So my local record store has a promotion. They usually, if you buy a bulk of CDs, they give you the cheapest used one for free. This was the cheapest used one for free. Yeah, oh man. Okay, so Stone Temple Pilots, Dancing Days, really good tune. I really like what they did with it. They definitely made it theirs, and I really I really do dig into this. I really do get into this, and I still to this day enjoy this. And I am glad I picked up this album. There are 4 songs on this album, and I'll come around to this at the end. There are 4 songs on this album that I'm kind of glad I picked it up for, so I'll have those 4 songs again. But that's it, man. 4 out of 13, man. That's a pretty big losing streak. Stone Temple Pilots is one of the reasons for it. And yeah, people could say, well, you could have just went and downloaded the songs. No. Bad. Go buy your media in the store. Go buy your media in the store. You give more people work that way. And yes, honestly, that is my biggest argument on going to buy media in the store still is you honestly give more people work and more money goes into the pockets of more people and less corporate fat cats up at the top that don't do anything. All right, screw Apple. All right, then we're into Big Head Todd and the Monsters doing Tangerine. I don't remember anything about Big Head Todd the Monsters. That opening section, that is going to be the most research I will ever do into Big Head Todd and the Monsters. And I seriously, man, I just, nothing, blank on them. I don't remember anything at all. The next song, this was kind of disappointing, man. We got Duran Duran doing Thank You. And it didn't really make me think Duran Duran. Like, it just, even like, you know, like, I don't know anything about Big Head Todd and the Monsters, and their version of Tangerine's okay-ish, I guess. I mean, it's nothing impressive, but I was expecting something kind of impressive from Duran Duran, and it's just kind of a basic cover. Like, there's nothing interesting or special about it at all, you know? And then you get to Blind Melon doing Out on the Tiles. Okay, so Blind Melon technically is a one-hit wonder, but the reason why Blind Melon is technically a one-hit wonder is the untimely death of Shen Hoon. That is two vocalists from this album, as we're going along here, that had untimely deaths due to heroin overdoses. Out on the Tiles is a very complicated song to play on the drums. In the first part of the verses, very specifically, there's this kick-ass kind of groove shuffle thing going on that's just, it's wild. And to do it properly and to do it right and do it justice, it's a very faithful cover. But to do this song faithfully, I am impressed. It is a real shame that this song didn't get a push because it was one of the few other songs on this album that was actually really good and deserved a push. For non-blondes, Misty Mountain Hop probably could have gotten a push as well. Maybe should have gotten a push. Blind Melons Out on the Tiles definitely should have been another track that would have gotten a push. You can guess what number this is on my list of tracks that I would have kept on this album. All right, then we're on to Good Times, Bad Times, and this is Cracker. Do you guys remember Cracker? Man, I totally forgot about Cracker until this, and I was surprised because I thought Cracker was after this, man. I totally screwed up my timeline with Cracker. Meh cover. That's, you know, I have more to talk about Cracker than I do the cover itself. Then you got Helmet with David Yao doing Custard Pie. Helmet's pretty cool band. David Yao, once again, knowing that's ringing a bell until I go and do research for that intro section that I did earlier, which clearly I haven't done yet. Helmet, I've heard them do covers in the past. They can do a good cover. They do a great musically. They're spot on, but that's part of the problem is like musically they're spot on, so it doesn't feel like it's Helmet. And David Yao's vocals are painful and out of place. For considering Zeppelin has done everything they can to separate themselves from the metal community, this song is just the whole way around feels wrong. Then we got Rollins Band doing Four Sticks. Okay, so with the way that Henry Rollins likes to do his vocals, he should never ever touch a fucking Led Zeppelin song. Okay, much respect. I have talked about Rollins in past reviews. I like Rollins. I have much respect for Rollins. I think Rollins is a very smart man. I have no appreciation whatsoever for his vocal delivery on this song. Musically, the band does a great delivery of the song. It's Henry Rollins' vocal delivery that totally botches this. I would have liked to have heard Henry Rollins try and give it an actual, real attempt at vocals. It's just, no. No, especially considering how spot on the band is. Like, the band itself is so damn spot on musically that Rollins doing his vocals his way over, it just makes it that much worse. Maybe that's what he was going for. Maybe he was trying to make a bad Zeppelin song. He succeeded. Oh, no. Then what are we up to next here? Never the Bride with Going to California. This is a beautiful vocal rendition. I once again, any research I've done that you see at the beginning, I've done in editing, so I don't know who's doing the vocals of this band or whatnot. So with the next part I say, if it is Tina Turner, it's going to make me sound like an idiot. If it isn't Tina Turner, much praise to the vocalist, because it sounds like Tina Turner delivering this beautiful, raspy Tina Turner-like rendition. It is gorgeous. Like, I mean, if you're one of my regular viewers, you've heard me talk about my love affair for Tina Turner and her vocal delivery style, man. That woman just, pipes from God. As far as I'm concerned, her and Liz Hale, man. Oh, and Ann Wilson. Yeah. Oh, man. Pipes from God. Shit. Okay, so musically, it's all piano. There's some light string arrangements in the background and whatnot. It's very well done. It's really mellow. I was never a fan of the song Going to California to begin with, okay? So, me listening to this version and then, making it even more mellow normally would have me saying that, but this is a beautiful and fantastic cover all the same. I have a lot more respect for it now than I did as a kid, but much more. But it's a beautiful song. Beautiful, beautiful song. And then the album finishes with Robert Plant and Tori Amos doing Down by the Seaside. And as an adult, I don't mind it. As a teen, I absolutely hated it. The whole way around, as a closer to this album, it basically it tells you everything about this album you need to know. It's boring as fuck. Oh my god, that's the problem. This album has a pulse, and it does have some energy. But it's basically Stone Temple Pilots on Dancing Days and Blind Melon out on the Tiles. Like, that's really where 90% of this album's true upbeat energy comes from. I mean, Four Non Blondes does a great version of Misty Mountain Hop, but Misty Mountain Hop, it is very upbeat, and this is an upbeat tune as well, but their rendition is not the same, so it doesn't have quite that same kind of pop to it, we'll call it. And then when you get into, you got Home with David Yao, because they do so much like the original version musically, it doesn't really... And, it's the songs that are on here, too. I'm sure you'd have, everybody fighting over A Whole Lot of Love. But the fact that A Whole Lot of Love isn't on here, and they don't have one of the huge, now it doesn't even have to be metal bands, but there were a lot of good, not alternative, not grunge bands around that could have done some of the better, more killer, you want to hear them Zeppelin songs, man. No one on here doing Kashmir? Come on. I mean, it's kind of nice that maybe no one's on here doing Kashmir, but I really feel like there were some opportunities missed to get some other real huge acts on here. Like the fact that Heart isn't on this album, the fact that, I don't, you never really hear too much about Rush being huge Zeppelin fans, but, tell me you wouldn't have wanted to hear Rush do some Zeppelin. Like, I mean, really, if someone's going to do it, right? There's some other things in here as well where you just kind of go, like, why are they not here? And really, this album is just honestly a disappointment. To this day, this album is still just a horrible disappointment to me. And this is why I had to refilm it again. So when I go into editing, I can do all the stuff about all those bands right at the beginning, pop out the pictures, do all that other crap, talk about this whole thing the whole way through, and then close it out, because I don't want to talk about this album no more. I just no more, man. I can't do it. All right, folks. Leave me your comments. Let me know what you think. While you're on your way down to the comment section, you're going to see a link down there that'll take you to Patreon. Click on that link. Throw me a few bucks, please. Like button, subscribe button, bell for notifications. Peace, love, take care.